thinking about who could be running. I'm going to be ranking these candidates alphabetically in categories from S, the best, to F, the worst. So let's jump in. Do not judge me, as I am sick, and I know y'all like to come for people, so let's get this started. First up, we've got Brian Kemp. As the governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp has previously made a name for himself over the past few years, especially following the 2020 election debacle that he was involved in. Sorry, I need to close that out. He stood firm on his election integrity, which earned him both praise and criticism from the different sides, Republican and Democrat. His calm, no-nonsense approach and conservative policies have made him a popular figure among Republicans in Georgia, even though that number is slowly crunching. While Kemp has managed administration skills that many Republicans do end up admiring, he doesn't have the same level of excitement or energy that other candidates on this list bring to the table. If he does run, I'd place him in B category. He's a very solid candidate. Sorry for that annoying noise. I'd place him in B category. He is a solid candidate, but not quite the game changer the GOP needs in 2028 with this current Donald Trump presidency. Next, we have Byron Donalds. Now, Donalds has quite quickly kind of become one of the most promising rising stars in a Republican Party. A congressman from Florida, he's an advocate for conservatism and has been vocal on several key issues. His strong presence on social media, sharp communication skills, and principled stances on key conservative values makes him someone to watch. What sets him apart is his ability to connect with younger voters, more diverse bases of conservatives who are looking for fresh leadership and not the same distinguished Republicans. I'm putting him in the A category because it would be really good for the diversity that they need, but he's also not S tier worthy. And a lot of people don't like what he says about social media. But next we have Chris Christie, the former governor of New Jersey. He's a diverse figure in Republican politics, but Christie is known for his blunt style and his willingness to criticize anyone, including members of his own party, similar to Donald Trump in the George W. Bush debacle. That could serve him well in a primary field, and he's not afraid to take on heavy hitters like Kamala Harris, who was our previous candidate for the Democrats. But the issue is Christie is deeply unpopular among the hardcore Republican base. He is a more moderate Republican, which a lot of them won't like, similar to why they hate Mike Pence. But for these reasons, I'd place Christie in C, because his experience, he has great experience, but, not speed, but he has great experience, but he's not really firing up the base as all these other candidates on this list. Next, we have Chris Sununu. I don't know how to say that. He's the current governor of New Hampshire, and his centrist, pragmatic approach to governance has made him one of the more moderate voices in the Republican Party. He's also been vocal in the Republican Party. He's also an advocate for expanding the party's appeal beyond its traditional Republican voters. His main appeal is his ability to win swing states like New Hampshire, which could be crucial in a general election. Sorry, I'm really sick, but I think he's a pretty solid candidate that deserves to be in the B category. He's not exactly the best, but he's not the worst. Alright, next, the most controversial person on this list, I feel, Donald J. Trump. He's already had his 2 presidential terms and serving his 1 right now, but he needs no introduction at all. If Trump does end up running for a 3rd term, it'll be a political story of the decade, and probably more than that, too. Now, let's talk about this, though. Trump is currently attempting to bend the Constitution to allow him to run for a non-consecutive 3rd term. Well, consecutive 3rd term, but he is serving as a 2 non-consecutive term president right now. Personally, I don't think it's a good idea. He'll be way too old, and it will lead to a lot of controversial crises and legal challenges. But let's be honest, he's still the most popular figure in the Republican Party and seems to have his mental capabilities. He has a very loyal fan and voter base, and he has the ability to dominate a crowded field in the media. Even if he faces opposition, I think Trump is an S-tier candidate, and this is from a non-biased standpoint. He knows how to fight, and he definitely knows how to win a primary. Alright, next, I don't like this candidate, but we have Donald Trump Jr. We know Donald Trump can endorse him, and he will become the Republican nominee. That's obvious. I'm not a fan at all, but it's understandable that Trump would want a Trump to carry on his legacy, but I don't think the United States needs a dynasty. Donald Trump Jr. has the political savvy or charisma he needs to success in a primary. He's often seen as an extension of his father, and while it might not be enough for some, it wouldn't be enough for everyone. He hasn't proven himself on a national stage like his father had to do, and there's a lot of skepticism about his ability to lead, and for that reason, I'm putting him in the D category. He has the name recognition, but not much else to really back it up. But now we have Doug Burgum. The governor of North Dakota is known for his tech background and his unique approach to governing. While he's a strong advocate for conservative politics, his lack of national exposure means he hasn't gained the traction some need. If he decides to run, it's hard to see him breaking through the primary field, but I would place him in C for now, because he's not exactly what everyone needs, but he is a much better candidate than some. I'm sorry I'm going to butcher this name, but Elise Stefanik. Stefanik has risen to prominence over the last few years, becoming a key person in the Republican Party. I wouldn't say so, but she's a strong communicator. I will give her that. And the Republicans do need a strong woman, because they're usually seen as this more sexist party, and I don't agree with that, but I'm also nonpartisan. But I would be placing her in the B category because it would be good to have someone like that, but I really don't see her running at all. Francis, I don't have much to say about him, but I would put him in the C category. I'm sorry, but Glenn Youngkin, he's the governor of Virginia, which is a particularly blue state. His handling of education and stance on critical race theory, he's won over a lot of conservatives, especially in suburban areas. His calm, pragmatic approach to leadership has made him pretty much a favorite for voters, and what's really good is his ability to win over swing states, and I would give him an A, because I think he would be a really good Republican solid candidate. Next we have Greg Abbott. Greg Abbott. But as the governor of Texas, Abbott has been a strong advocate for conservative politics. Ooh, what the heck? Sorry, there's something right there. I think a lot of Texas, he could help really narrow down that margin for Texas and how it's been going recently. But I think he's a solid candidate, and he deserves the B spot. I think he's a very solid candidate, but he's not the strongest candidate nationally. Alright, one of my favorite candidates, J.D. Vance, he's very interesting. The current vice president of the United States under Trump, Vance has been a prominent figure in his Republican Party, and I can see him being the next face of MAGA. His rise in the party has been fast, and there's a lot of excitement about his potential in the 2028 race. And I have a video coming out soon that is a hypothetical election forecast with him versus Josh Shapiro. But that still has a lot of editing to be done, but I believe he's the best candidate the Republicans have got for now. And for that reason, I am putting him in S tier. It's funny, we have the current president and the current vice president next to each other. That's a really cool coincidence. But he's got the political chops, the message, and the ability to unify the party. I really do think so. So, let's start knocking these out. I think he's a solid candidate, but he's not great. John James, I don't know enough about him to know, but Josh Hawley, I think he would be a pretty good candidate. Katie Britt, I don't see her running. I don't think she would be a good one. Kim Reynolds, I think she has the ability to, but Kristi Noem is A. I think she's probably the best female candidate they have as of now, and she's currently working under Trump, so yeah. I've never been a fan of her, really. Marco Rubio, I don't really trust him for now, so I'll put him here. I don't see her doing good. Matt Gaetz, I really do like this candidate, and I would be happy to put him in an S tier. I know how much public controversy he has, but I think he's a pretty good candidate. I will not lie. And Mike Lee, I don't really know much enough about. Okay, Mike Pence. And now we're talking about Mike Pence, who I personally can't stand. Pence's refusal to stand up against the election rigging, apparent election rigging, because I'm nonpartisan, but his weakness on key issues make him a liability for the Republican Party. I think he's one of the worst candidates on this list. So for that, I don't think he's the worst, but I'll put him in the D category. Because overall, he's not the worst candidate. But he's just not someone I would vote for. Mike Pompeo. Pompeo has been a staunch conservative voice throughout his whole career, especially in his role as Secretary of State. However, he lacks the charisma to energize the base in the way the other candidates can. His experience in foreign policy could be a strong selling point, but it's not enough to elevate him above a C. Now we have Nikki Haley, the worst on this list, I think. This is easily my least favorite candidate on this list, and I have to be honest, I really dislike her. I just don't think she's a good Republican. She's a flip-flopper. Her positions on certain issues like foreign policy and her flip-flopping mannerisms make her someone who doesn't connect with the base at all. I think she's a terrible pick for the Republicans, and I'm placing her in the F category. Next, we have Ron DeSantis, another heavy hitter. As the governor of Florida, DeSantis has run multiple times and became a key figure in the conservative movement. His handling of the pandemic, his stance on education, and his strong anti-woke policies have made him daring of the right and a very good person to have as the Republican base. But I think he's one of the top contenders for 2028, and I'm putting him in the S category. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the current governor of Arkansas, has built a solid reputation, in my opinion, particularly with her work in the Trump administration. She's been a vocal defender of conservative principles, and her appeal to the Trump base is undeniable. However, her time as press secretary may limit her appeal to broader electorate. I'd place her in the C category. So I just don't think she is someone that could really make it to the national stage, and she's just not one of the main candidates I would pick. Like, I would rather vote for anyone like Kristi Noem. But yeah, Ted Cruz now. Cruz is an interesting person to pick, but he's a lot of support among the Republican base, but he's also incredibly controversial. His hard right stances and his combative style makes him a figure that makes you either love or hate him, like Donald Trump. While he's a strong contender in a crowded field, I don't see him being the one to lead the party in 2028, so I will be placing him in the B spot. Tim Scott. I really do not have a great opinion of Tim Scott. Do I think he's an okay candidate that could be an extension of Donald Trump? Yes. I don't like a lot of his stances on things, but I will put him in the A category because we do need a little bit more of diverse candidates if the Republican Party wants to go big, so I would put him there. Tom Cotton, I have a big problem with Tom Cotton, especially with his stance on the TikTok ban. His position on the issue is terrible. His overall hardline approach to foreign policy makes him way too extreme for many Republicans. He's definitely in the F category for me. No, not that, but I'd put him in the D category. Just simply because he's not great. Okay, Tucker Carlson. I love Tucker Carlson. I think he would be a great candidate. But because he is known for loving Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, if Vance even decided to run, I don't think he would want to. But as a candidate by himself, I would put him at number 5, even though he does not have a lot of political experience. Next, we have possible Ohio Senator Vivek Ramaswamy. Ramaswamy is a bit of a wild card. He is an entrepreneur and political outsider with a lot of ideas about what the Republican Party should be. While he's not a traditional politician, he's got the energy and vision to make him a splash in the primaries. His thoughts on visa and illegal immigration definitely took him down a lot, and even Trump got a little upset with him. And Elon, but I don't have strong feelings about him, but I would place him in the C category. Sorry. Finally, Will Hurd. Hurd has the experience as a former congressman, but his moderate positions could be a turnoff for the base. He's definitely not a top contender, but I think he has enough appeal to stay somewhere in the top 5 of the primaries. I'm putting him in C. So, there you have it, folks. My rankings for the 2028 Republican candidates. It's still early, and I think a lot can change. People could enter and leave the race, but this is where I stand for now. What do you think? Let me know in the comments who you think will rise to the top. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time.